As we typically talk about on this channel, society is deteriorating more and more as time goes on, and I believe that there is a deeper and a bigger conversation that we need to have with this entire situation around Emiru getting assaulted at her meet and greet. Today, I am going to present to you the entire story, Twitch's response, all of those things. I'm going to give my personal take, and then we're going to take a look at what the internet has to say today, because I have a very uncomfortable conversation that not a lot of people are bringing up. And I want to bring that to you up for you today, because I think this is very important. Emiru is lucky, and everybody, I mean, quite frankly, everybody's lucky that this didn't escalate further. But I want to present to you the entire story today. If you have already seen all of the stuff with Twitch, the response, all of that, skip maybe 5 minutes or so to where we actually talk about it. But we're going to go through the entire thing today. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with many YouTube channels. So we'll start off with the initial clip over here. I know there is a 2-minute long clip, but this 10-second clip gives you the gist of it. A fan came out and assaulted Emiru during her TwitchCon meet and greet. If you guys are not familiar by chance with Emiru, she is one of the most popular streamers right now. She's part of that whole like Pokimane Valkyrie gang, you know, the streamers that are kind of close together like that. She had a meet and greet at TwitchCon. This is what happened, okay? So she's meeting this other fan. This guy over here just comes about and tries to make his move, tries to kiss her, grabbing her. Look what he's doing, man. Look what he's doing. Thankfully, all that happened is that he grabbed her. Security's nowhere to be seen, and I don't want to comment too much on it because I want to go off on this, okay? Because I have a lot that I want to say. So here's the whole clip. Then this useful security comes in afterwards. What are you doing? So he basically just pushes him away, and then the guy gets to walk free. Get that, okay? But it's not over yet. Fearbuck ended up posting new footage surfacing showing the man who assaulted Emiru freely walking out of TwitchCon. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, just going about his day. Look at him. Out of there. It's like, what the hell? How? Just on his way to assault another girl. And I don't mean to I know I'm laughing here. I don't mean to make light on such a situation, but I'm laughing because, like, I can't believe that he was just allowed to walk free. What if he just wanted to go out to the next girl? Maybe he was angry. Somebody who does this type of thing to girls is not normal. So him going free, maybe he's pissed off. Maybe it'll work with the next girl that I try to kiss. Why is this dude being let to walk free? Insane to me, okay? Now, this is crazier. Take a look at this clip over here. Emiru, there was a stream clip talking recently about Twitch banning her favorite security guard from TwitchCon. She couldn't even get the security that she wanted. This is where it falls on Twitch even more. But again, we're going to talk about that, okay? Listen to this.
Maybe I should talk about this, whatever, who cares.
I'm sorry, the volume's a little bit low. I have it maxed out over here.
I had a security guard 2 years ago where there was a guy following me around TwitchCon, and he like asked him to stop multiple times. My guard asked him, and the guy wouldn't stop, so he grabbed the guy, but he didn't like hurt him. He was just holding the guy until like the con security came. And then for some reason they're like, yeah, because your security guard touched him, he's like permabanned from the venue forever.
You'll have to excuse my language, but like, what kind of fucked up world do we live in where security aren't allowed to do their jobs? We're going to open up about that too. Don't worry. I have a lot that I want to say about this, but I do want to present you with everything that happened first, okay?
But he didn't even hit him or anything. He just like held him while they waited for like the police to come. And
I'm over here in Canada. Those are some Canada laws over here, which I'm very grateful to be on the platform, YouTube. It's the best thing that's ever possible to happen to somebody is to, you know, get rid of their security.
And it was like my favorite security guard. I can't have him at TwitchCon anymore. I was just
you should have not went.
Okay, like it was so sad because he did like everything.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. That's where it even begins to fall on Twitch. Okay, so she ended up actually posting after the assault ended up happening, which she finished her meet and greet too. I can't imagine the mental toll on her. Okay, but this is what she had to say. Hello everyone, I am okay and thank you for all the kind messages. Sorry I cannot respond to them all. Yesterday, the man who assaulted me was allowed to cross multiple barriers at TwitchCon and even in front of another creator's meet and greet to grab me and my face and try to kiss me. Fortunately, he wasn't able to, but a lot of people pointed out it could have been a lot worse, which is very true. I'm obviously shaken up by what happened, and it's not the first time I've dealt with something like this, but to tell you honestly, I'm a lot more hurt and upset about how Twitch handled it during and after the fact. Like I said, I don't understand how he was allowed to make it to me in the first place. The security in the clip who reacts is my own security. It's true, and my favorite usual security guard was banned for holding a stalker's arm to bring to the police at a past TwitchCon. However, There were at least 3 or 4 other TwitchCon security staff in the area who did not react and let the guy walk away, as you can see in the clip since they don't even appear in the frame. The woman who was walking me away as my own personal manager, and behind the booth, the only 2 people who were checking on me and comforting me were her and my friend. None of the TwitchCon staff came to me and asked what happened if I was okay. My friend who was present told me about the Twitch security were also behind the booth afterwards, joking about how they didn't even see what happened, and immediately laughed and moving on to talking about something else. So, if no one was checking if I was okay, or if I needed anything, they let the guy ran away initially. I have no idea what anyone hired to keep the event safe. I have no idea what anyone hired to keep the event safe was doing. In Twitch's statement, they said the guy who was immediately caught and detained. I'm sorry, but that's a blatant lie. He was allowed to walk away from my meet and greet, and I didn't hear he was caught until hours after he attacked me, and it felt like this only happened because my manager pressed for it, not because the TwitchCon staff present was through it was a big deal. And we know this now that he just strolled out of the event. I have a lot more I want to say, but I will say it on stream later today instead of writing a book on here. Thank you guys again. Sorry you had to see all that. This is definitely my last TwitchCon, and it saddens me to say as a 10-year off and attendee at TwitchCon, I think other creators should seriously consider not attending in the future. I did not feel cared or protected, even bringing my own security and staff. I can't imagine how creators without these options would feel. Stay safe, y'all. Everything is going to be okay. What a beautiful, powerful statement. That's how you handle something like that. Strong message, standing up. We love to see it. That was great, okay? But then we will touch on this as well. There's a couple more things that I want to show you over here, okay? Dan Clancy. We have a whole 2-minute clip, okay? And again, I'm sorry, it's already been about 7 minutes into the video. If you want to hear the internet's reaction to my take, you'll have to fast forward, but we are also going to watch this clip over here. We're going to pause and we're going to have commentary throughout because otherwise, we're not allowed to use it.
And others. Obviously, we saw one Twitch streamer yesterday, Emiru, get assaulted by a male fan, and a lot of streamers have, especially female streamers, have talked about, the danger that they feel from these sort of toxic, I guess, parasocial kind of creeps. What are you guys doing to prioritize safety? Because I know also a bunch of Twitch content creators said that they were too scared to even come to TwitchCon this year, just in case something like what happened yesterday.
Think about that for a second. The amount of women who feel uncomfortable attending a TwitchCon. That is a problem in itself. And we're also going to dive into the entire parasocial relationship thing. Let's listen. Let's continue on.
Yesterday, what happened?
The safety of our creators is the top priority. The challenge we face.
The safety of our creators is a top priority. Yeah, you've definitely shown that, eh?
This is a challenge in today's society. It's not limited to Twitch. It extends throughout our society.
It is definitely worse when it comes to the people watching Twitch and TwitchCon in itself.
I do think that when you're live streaming, in many ways, since you control your community and you can...
Yup. Yeah, she's totally responsible for her community, right? She's totally responsible for that happening.
And people, you can make it so that those people that you don't want engaging with you and participating with you aren't there. Okay, it's very different. When I use other short form content and people say all sorts of stuff, well, I can't stop that. But when I live stream, they basically don't bother me. Now, what happened yesterday obviously was something that we care deeply about, securing this environment. We're looking very close.
It's just a regular corporate response. He's just saying everything that he's supposed to say. That he... You know what? He might just be like, oh, I'd rather that not happen to a girl. Maybe he feels a little bit bad for her, but at the end of the day, he doesn't care.
At everything that happened there, and I care deeply about Emmy. She's a friend of mine, and so I want to see how we can support her. This is just something we have to keep working on. I think everyone...
How about a I'm sorry? Not like maybe an I'm sorry personally, which would be nice because, you're kind of responsible for these types of things happening. I'm sorry that we weren't there to protect you. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for that. You could apologize for anything, but no, we're blaming her for not controlling her community.
Identifies our tools in terms of trust and safety as the leaders in the industry about helping creators, but that means there's always more work to be done because that's the world we live in now.
Demi had posted earlier today that I guess this fan was allowed to cross multiple barriers at TwitchCon. Why should streamers trust Twitch to keep them safe at TwitchCon? Because I feel like
You shouldn't. This should be the last straw for every female creator out there.
Simultaneously, this has been such a secure event to the point that even journalists have had struggled. It is very secure. But here's this man that just walks up and is somehow able to bypass.
Hey, what do you mean it's very secure? The dude walked up and did whatever he wanted as security was nowhere near her. Security should be on her. Absolutely.
These things. So why should they trust the platform when slip-ups or, issues like this have happened?
Well, I mean, as you know, I think you toured some of what we do in terms of security. The reality is, even as you do a lot in terms of security in today's world...
But there wasn't a lot. He's talking like there was a lot of security. There wasn't. Nobody was around her. Nobody was around her at all. It wasn't until she was getting kissed that somebody came up and pushed him.
Challenges that can present themselves, especially when someone is putting themselves out there, right? And so, we try to work very closely with each creator about what they want to do and what works for them.
Oh, really? I think that what she would have probably wanted if you did reach out to her was she wanted her favorite security guard, a guy who was shown to protect her in the past. Come on.
Right. So I don't want to get into any, specifics or details, but part of that is working with creators and, trying to find them. Right now, we're definitely, ramping it up to make sure creators know that we have the resources there to help them figure out what's right.
It's just a complete corporate response. That's what he's supposed to say. He has to make a statement, and it was just a regular blanket statement that means nothing, okay? A couple more things I want to show you over here. Twitch ended up posting this on their own account. The safety and security of all those attending TwitchCon is our highest priority. The behavior displayed by the individual involved in the incident yesterday involving a high-profile streamer was completely unacceptable and deeply unsettling. In line with existing TwitchCon security protocols, law enforcement and event security were on site and responded to the incident. We immediately blocked this individual from returning to TwitchCon premises, and they are banned indefinitely from Twitch, both online and in-person events. We are coordinating with the impacted creators team, and per our usual protocols, continue to cooperate with any law enforcement investigations. We have increased security at the meet and greet attendee check-in point, and will have additional security personnel surrounding participating streamers. If you've RSVP'd for a meet and greet, please note that we are unable to accommodate +1s for the remainder of the event. Hi, Sunny. My apologies, everybody. I had to say hi to my dog. We can't ignore her over here. I love her with all of my heart, okay? But check this out. We have increased security at the meet and greet attendee check-in point, and we'll have additional security personnel surrounding participating streamers. Why is this not a thing in the first place? Why is that something that you just had to ramp up? But again, we have a lot that we're going to talk about over here, okay? Twitch has a zero tolerance for harassment or acts that inhibit the safety and security for our community, and they ended up getting community noted, Twitch staff originally allowed the assailant to walk away and only apprehended him and escorted him out when they were pressed to do so by Emiru's manager. Additionally, security hired by Twitch laughed at the situation straight after it happened and did nothing to assist. Now, one thing in all of this, which I'll be honest, I completely believe that they were laughing based on, how capable they were as security guards. These particular people, the particular security guards that they're talking about laughing, they didn't do their jobs. They should be shamed for doing so, but we can't say that like it's undeniable proof, okay? Because there is no video of it. What we do have video of is everything else. The guy walking free, things like that. Little nitpick, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. They should, I don't care. Shame them as much as possible, man. And there was one more thing that I want to show you before we continue on with the internet's reaction over here. Asmongold predicts the end of TwitchCon. This is something that a lot of people have been bringing up, and it's just one particular exchange that Asmongold had a little while ago, which I don't know why people are disagreeing with it, okay? I think this will be and should be the last year of TwitchCon. Someone responded saying no woman should go to TwitchCon. I tried to say this and warn people, but I was accused of victim blaming. Hopefully the virtue signaling was worth more than the victims. Twitch alone is responsible for this. With how lax they've been with the security, anyone could have seen this happening. Like I said, this was a very, very, very long time coming, and I want to talk about this entire thing in general, and then, like I said, we are going to get into what the internet has to say as well. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying this video, please hit like and subscribe. I have a lot that I would like to talk about with this entire thing, okay? So, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, and I know I don't want it to sound egotistical, but as a decent human being, okay, I am also a father of a daughter that I love with all of my heart, and I've worked in healthcare, okay? The reason that I mention these things to you is because I have beyond strong opinions when it comes to these things with assault on women, okay? When I saw what happened to Emiru, I was angry. Not just in the act itself, but the total failure of every single system that was there that was supposed to protect her. Everywhere we looked, there was failure after failure after failure. And again, the reason that I wanted to mention those things is because in this video, as we continue talking about this, I'm going to be very, very critical of our society and the online culture that we've built, because this entire thing that happened was very predictable. It was a very, very preventable disaster with this entire thing. And as I'm talking about it, I believe that it might be correct that we should have this initial video in case we want to point back to it, okay? It's this entire situation that you're watching over here. It's completely 100% preventable. And we are lucky that she hasn't been hurt further with this entire situation, okay? I have some things that I would like to say, and I can already hear people in the comment section telling me that I'm focusing on the wrong things and perhaps being a little too critical about everything, okay? There are ways to fix these things, and we need to call these systems out when these women at these events are wronged and in general. And again, I am beyond passionate about this, okay? Ever since having my little girl, I have been worried every single day of my life that, like, what kind of future she's going to have. In 17, 16 years' time, the pool of disgusting and pathetic men that she's not only going to have to deal with, but potentially choose as a partner, because there's going to be none left. I'm angry at the world. I have no hope for this world, and things like this keep happening. And since having my little girl, I've only been angry with the world. I've seen these situations to the maximum level in person as well. If you've been following the channel, and I'm sorry, I don't recall if I've actually mentioned it just a second ago, you might know that I have worked in an emergency room for years of my life, okay? I've seen these, like, ultimate assault victims, to put it lightly for YouTube. I've seen girls battered. I've seen girls bruised. I've seen the fear and terror in their faces. I've seen the broken bones that they get. I have literally, guys, seen the worst case scenario for these types of girls, and a lot of times, it happens when they're underage as well. And behavior like that being let go at this event, the way that it is the way for that to have more situations like this happen. That was preventable. That man should have had second guesses before, like, waking up and doing what he was going to do. This was extremely, extremely preventable in every way, shape, and form. It's ridiculous. A man who is well over, like, twice her size was allowed to cross multiple security barriers and just do whatever he wanted. He was allowed to get close. He was allowed to grab her, kiss her. That's flat out assault. This is a corporate run event. That's ridiculous. And circling back to what I was about to touch on just a second ago, yes, I do understand, okay, the internet's reacting to this a little bit, and people are saying that she was only grabbed, okay? And in the grand scheme of things, yes, she's fine, thank God, okay? Maybe it'll keep her up at night, but at the end of the day, I agree, it might not be the end of the world, okay? I know what a bunch of people online are saying. I understand. But what you don't understand, the people who are saying this type of things, is that he could have done worse if he wanted to. Thank God all that happened is that she got grabbed. What if this guy had further intentions? Think about that being your mother, your sister, even a daughter, your partner, anybody close to you that's a woman. The fact that this man felt comfortable, entitled, and safe enough to do this in a crowded room is the entire issue in itself. Before I continue, though, okay, I actually want to, I want to rephrase what I said a little bit. I meant that what she experienced, I meant that what she experienced, like, wasn't a big deal in the sense that her body wasn't harmed, okay? I understand that there is a major and completely understandable fear women have that of, like, big creepy men assaulting them, and quite frankly, they should have that fear. That's normal. That's completely understandable. I just hope that I didn't come off wrong in what I just said, so that's important to note moving forward, okay? But as I was saying, why do you think this guy felt safe to do that? Because he was completely safe to do it. He could walk up and do whatever he wanted. Rewind that clip and watch it whenever you want. The people just standing around, and actually, let's talk about this now. This blue-haired guy over here, okay? You know the blue-haired guy, that's being flamed online? Everybody's talking about this guy for not doing anything. First of all, he doesn't exactly look like the type of guy who would do anything in the first place, let's be honest here. But let's pretend that's your everyday normal man standing there, okay? We live in this absolutely fucked up society that has been just 100% paralyzed, okay? If he were to step in and defend this woman, he would be the one facing the lawsuit. It's ridiculous. We have created this crazy, weirdo world where good people are terrified to intervene and evil people know it. I can't sit here and say that it should be legal for everyone in that room to just completely dogpile on that assaulter. And quite frankly, guys, I would never in a million years even suggest such a thing. What a crazy, crazy thing to suggest, okay? That's just what some weird, crazy guys think on the internet. Crazy people those guys are. But what those crazy people might say is that we are desperately lacking a culture that conditions people to second guess themselves before, they come on and assault women. What crazy people those guys are, eh? Them and their opinions. Weirdos. But we haven't even touched on, like, Twitch yet, okay? That is a betrayal on another level. You guys just watched that clip? There was just a chain of failures here. One being security. For a streamer of Emiru's size, why was there not a perimeter? Why was he able to get within like 10, 20 feet of her, let alone be able to put his hands on her? He walked up and did whatever he wanted to her. He could have stabbed her if he wanted to. He could have touched her, inappropriately. Another reason, like another failure. We found out that Twitch was previously punishing her for her own security and safety. Her own security guard was banned for doing his job, for supposedly grabbing a guy. So Twitch actively disarmed this woman, leaving her vulnerable, and this assault was a direct result in that. Directly. It's Twitch to blame more than anything here. Third failure with this entire thing, okay? After Twitch and their security did nothing, apparently Twitch's staff, as we talked about, everybody was talking about them, laughing about it backstage. Crazy, and I completely believe it too. Absolutely crazy. Then they had the audacity to say that safety was their highest priority. The man was allowed to walk away and only detained hours later because apparently Emiru's manager was just pressing the issue over and over again to them. That doesn't sound like they care. Another failure. When Dan Clancy was asked about it, he didn't apologize to her. He didn't hold Twitch accountable. He didn't hold security accountable. He gave a cowardly corporate non-answer and had the audacity to say that she needs to control her own community. Are you kidding me right now? How about, I don't know, maybe you control your own event. How about you say to the woman who was assaulted, which again, you're lucky that she was only grabbed. How about we're so sorry that we failed you, and we'll make this right and make sure a situation like this never happens again. We talk a lot about victim blaming over here in conversations like this, and oftentimes people, they really do go over the top with claiming what is and what is not victim blaming, comparing it to things that really aren't. But it's real here. It's disgusting, okay? Guys, this entire incident was a very long time coming, and we have to sit down and we have to talk about the root causes for things like this. Twitch's entire business model is a breeding ground for guys just like this in this video right here. We have to start as a society shaming SIMP culture. We have to start calling out parasocial relationships for what they are. These platforms, and Twitch especially, cultivate and profit from these sick-minded people. They monetize loneliness. They sell the illusion of intimacy and access, making either damaged men, lonely men feel oh so super special for their $5 subscribe, okay? And then everyone acts shocked when one of these entitled men shows up and demands access that they feel that they've paid for. This assault is a dark, inevitable consequence for these types of things and the business model that Twitch profits from. Anybody could have seen something like this coming. It's ridiculous that it was allowed to happen, okay? You combine all of that with a culture full of garbage dating advice, telling all these men things like, oh, just go for it, assert yourself, make yourself known in the room, take what you want as a man. And then you give a weak-minded loser like this the justification to take something like that literally. I bet that guy walking up to Emiru thought he was the big dog in the room, hearing things like, a man needs to take what he wants, instead of, actively telling that man that they're disgusting and he needs to improve himself. He probably thought, yeah, I'm separating myself over here. And all these streamers themselves, none of them are blameless, okay? I'm not familiar with Emiru's content, so I'm not blaming her, okay? And please, 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 with what I'm about to say, don't put those words in my mouth. But I am quite familiar with the group that she's a part of, okay? These girls that play into this culture are just as bad, or almost, yeah, they're just as bad as Twitch, okay? The girls who smile and, bend over to pick something up in front of the camera for these guys that are donating their entire life savings, they are exactly the issue. Exactly. Weak-minded individuals will believe that you actually appreciate them and will think that they actually have a chance with you, and that's why that guy had the audacity to do what he did. Was it right? No. But we could have seen that coming. Let me remind you of that old Cineclip, for example, that we made a video about when she went viral. You can go check it on the channel. We talked about it for a while. When she said, please die, about a guy sending her DM. If you are one of those guys on Twitch donating to these girls constantly, that's what every single one of them thinks about you. You are subhuman to them. And the reality is, they wouldn't give a single fuck if you died tomorrow. They wouldn't even remember your name. And if they happen to actually remember your name if you died, that's a problem in itself. They're probably talking crap about you donating all of this money to them. You have donated enough money where she remembers your name. This guy thinks he has a chance with me. If you are in any of those lines to meet these streamers, they are disgusted with your very presence. Any guy who was waiting in Emiru's line or any of these other e-girls, not Emiru in particular, but these e-girls at Twitch, in her brain, she thinks you are a disgrace of a man. Get a hold of yourself, go for a run, you're better than this. Why would you ever want to meet any of these girls? They are only smiley to your face, so you fall in love and you send more money their way. Women like these streamers, and again, I'm not singling out Emiru, I'm not familiar with her content. but I'm talking about, the group, okay? They know exactly how powerful lust is on men, and they have been taking advantage of it for a very, very long time. You need to get a hold of yourself. Your ancestors are looking down on you in pure disgust. They didn't die so you could drool over pixels, let alone throw yourself in front of somebody who wouldn't care if that you died in front of them. How much money are you guys paying for these meet and greets? Ridiculous. Do better. Get a hold of yourself. You're better than this. So, what's the solution to all this, okay? First, that man needs to be charged with SA, locked away. This isn't some funny stream clip moment. That's a straight up crime. It's ridiculous that it was allowed to take place in the first place. Secondly, we need to live in a world where it is acceptable for security to actually be security. And what do I mean by that, okay? I mean that as a society, it's time to grow up and accept exactly what I'm about to tell you over here, okay? It means security needs to be allowed to actually get physical. I guarantee you, the next time, Twitch will have more security, and the second they forcefully end up tackling someone to the ground or just get a little bit too aggressive, we are going to hear non-stop complaints about abuse of power and toxicity rooted in the people behind security. We cannot have it both ways. That's what protection actually is. And what if the guy wanted to come up and kill Emiru? What if he wanted to just pull her pants down or something? Are we just going to wait around and watch? That's nonsense. Hire a bunch of toxically masculine men and let them do whatever the hell they want to bad people, okay? Let them do their jobs. Twitch already banned Emiru's guard for doing so. Let people in security do their jobs. And for those of you still against that, again, I encourage you to think about your mother, your sister, your partner, your daughter being in that exact same spot that Emiru's in. Don't lie to me in the comments. You would want the most toxically masculine men possible to come in and defend them. And I know that you would rather have them intervene immediately than just wait to see what happens, okay? That is the objectively correct thing to do. Stop that man before he gets anywhere near that person that he wants to harm, and stop him forcefully, making any other person second guess themselves before doing this type of thing. We need to protect women in this society. And guys, I have one more message that I would like to get across before we look at the internet's reaction. I feel like I've been yapping for a little bit about this, okay? If you are a female streamer, it's time that you do not attend these events. Your safety is way more important than the money, the exposure, and the experience that you get at TwitchCon, okay? This event proved that Twitch will not protect you, they will not stand by you, but they will punish and blame you for trying to protect yourself. Take your life seriously. Something that I actually learned circling back to my job over in the ER is that everyone always thinks that it won't happen to them until it does happen to them. You guys wouldn't believe what I've seen. You guys wouldn't believe it, okay? Make a change. Stop attending these events. Allow security to the max. Allow them to do their jobs. Stop enabling the culture behind your, your regular Twitch donator to these girls, and put a stop to any sort of parasocial relationship that could possibly develop. This is what needs to happen. Think about somebody close to you being in Emiru's spot, but of course, it's not just about what I think. I wanted to get the opinion of what the internet had to say about this as well. Sorry, I know I yapped about that for a little while, guys. I didn't mean to yap like that long. I think it's been, I don't know how long it's been, to be honest with you. But anyways, I started posting this over on X over here. Going to make a video on this in a couple days. Have a lot to say about these freaks. If you have any thoughts, drop them below and I will include some replies. Thank you for your time. If you guys would like to join the conversation, follow me over on X at Clen YouTube. You can check out the link to X within the description down below, or the link tree at the top of the description. Like and subscribe if you have not already, guys. Let's hear what the internet had to say about this, okay? Mina had this to say: can we normalize jumping, beating people up publicly for crap like this? Hey, I live in Canada over here. We're not allowed to say something like that, and I think, quite frankly, that this is crazy. This is crazy. This would totally not fix anything, okay? That's 100%. What a crazy thing that somebody could say about this, okay? Thanos was right. Half y'all don't need to exist. Circling back, it's crazy that someone like Thanos has been proven to be right with time, eh? Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. This guy's been getting flamed. It's so tough because I actually do feel bad. Like, first of all, just look at him. He's not going to do anything, obviously, right? But I'm trying to, put myself in this sort of situation. I can't go to jail, right? So, but then again, my morals probably wouldn't let me allow something like that to happen, right? It's such a tough situation, man. But I'm telling you, man, for my wife, for my daughter, there is nothing that I wouldn't do for them. But how could you just stand there and do nothing, I feel like I would never in a million years allow myself. It's just this messed up society that we live in. What's proper is for you to see something like that and take action. But yeah, look at him. He's not going to do anything. Like, I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh, Drew. It's just, this entire thing is so ridiculous. This guy's getting flamed, man. Good. LG Shorty Pie had this to say. Last time I was at TwitchCon, a man came up from behind me, put both arms around my head, covering my eyes, and squeezed me close to him, then asked, guess who? And I didn't know who the hell they were. Please be safe, girls. Have friends around, have security. People are unhinged. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. We need to start shaming this culture publicly, and every single streamer should be shaming people like that constantly. Constantly. There is a lot of fixing up that we need to do on this planet, okay? Another user had this to say. That dude was twice her size, too. That was fucked up. It could have been so much worse if he wanted to hurt her. Yep, and Apple's completely right. Just the size difference alone, he could have ended her life if he wanted to, even without a weapon. Yep, he could have just grabbed her by the neck and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. Could you imagine if something like that happened? Could you just imagine? Insane. Insane that it was allowed to happen. This is a reply from Regna that we already talked about, or excuse me, that I've already had an interaction with on Twitter. He shouldn't have been able to get that close to her. He should have been stopped before he passed the barrier. It's a shame that security is needed to stop these sick freaks, but definitely increases security needed. And you need security that you want. If I was someone like Emiru, I would not be going unless I have security that I personally trust and know that will protect me. It's crazy that she wasn't allowed to bring her own guy for grabbing somebody. What do you want security to do? Look what happens when people don't grab anybody. Tectone had this to say. Zero accountability, infinite excuses. Dan, your own staff did nothing. They laughed about it afterwards. You banned Emmy's only good security guard. This could have been much worse if none of your own staff did crap. You're a joke. Agreed. Well said. Very, very well said. Let's continue on. Leave 3D had this to say. Guys, if you don't want to be assaulted at TwitchCon, just control your community better. Block or ban them. Like, what's the logic behind that? There are crazy people in every single community. You can't control that. You are not responsible for what some idiot does online. You're not. She's not responsible for that guy. I imagine him sending donations and going, oh my god, thank you, big creepy guy, 420, you know, like, and then he's like, oh my god, she loves me. She loves me. That's probably what happened. Like, I'm not excusing behavior, don't get me wrong. It's just, I can't believe that this just happens, man. It's so disheartening for this world. I get so much angrier at these things, knowing that I have a little girl right now that's going to grow up and these types of situations are going to get worse because this society that we live in is getting more and more and more messed up by the day. It's not going to fix. I do not watch Emiru, so obviously I'm not a fan of her. However, the fact that the CEO says essentially that it's her fault that her community is like that is baffling because she doesn't have control over everyone in her audience. Very secure, my ass. That incident is not only avoidable, but it's apparent that TwitchCon security did jack shit. Tighten security and do it the first time so that this is preventable. Again, very well said. We covered it, and there's nothing else that I would like to add to that, to be honest with you. That person needs to be arrested and charged with SA. He absolutely needs to. I know a lot of people were talking about a knife, but it was a little too close to... It was a little bit too, like, blurry, and I don't exactly know if it was a knife that was pulled out. Whatever happened, thankfully, she wasn't murdered over there. Brooke AB had this to say. I haven't been back to TwitchCon since 2019 due to safety concerns. It's a shame that something like that should be enjoyable and safe that has turned into something anxiety-inducing for a lot of women on Twitch. But those fears are completely valid. Security needs to be better. There are zero excuses for a streamer to be assaulted that easily. So sorry to Emiru and all the other ladies that deal with this on a regular basis. It's also insane to me that you have streamers big enough to host a meet and greet. Why aren't they all receiving a designated security card by Twitch? Multiple. Not to stand way back, but close up during the meet and greet and to follow them around the convention. 100%. I recognize this girl, Jessica Negri. She might be a streamer. Hang on. I make costumes sometimes, voice act. Oh, maybe it's a voice actor. Sorry, I just recognized the name. I was just at the GS booth and I had this lovely massive lad on my 6 the entire time. Like 2 feet from me, but he was provided by the booth, not TwitchCon. Hey, that's what you need. You need someone to follow you. You need this big man, and you need a toxically masculine man to follow you around and help you out. Moomy Star had this to say. I really wanted to go to TwitchCon for multiple years, but I kept choosing not to go because some fans said that they were going to stab me with a knife or blocking him after he said he had a crush on me. The world is not safe for women. I'm sad that I'll never have the opportunity to go because I value my safety over this. Even though I have huge fear of missing out, it's not worth the risk. I'm glad that somebody is this smart and not going. It's not worth it. Your safety is not worth it. And there are crazy people. There are absolutely crazy people. I can't imagine somebody to the extent of Emiru. First of all, she has all of these people in her DMs I can guarantee you falling in love with her. But I guarantee she also has a lot of messages saying, like, threatening to kill people. You know, I have that in my DMs. And if you're just following this channel, this is a small channel. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm part of the MMA and part of the Fortnite community on other channels. I get death threats. I can't imagine what it would be like for a streamer of this magnitude. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Let's continue on to baking crumbs. So some freak just assaulted Emiru at TwitchCon. This behavior is disgusting. I'm amazed that she still came back to finish the meet and greet line. Honestly, she deserves the utmost of respect. This has to stop. Dude, I wouldn't blame her one little bit, and I'm sure that nobody would blame her if she just took off from that. That's awesome for her and her community and her fans. Like, honestly, I mean, you wouldn't catch me in a line like this, but if I was in that line after watching that happen to her, I would take off. I wouldn't want her to meet she obviously wouldn't want to meet anybody else, and she wouldn't want to meet anybody in general. I guarantee you she looks down on all of these guys, I bet you she thinks very, very highly of this blue-haired individual over here. 100%, right? Yeah. But you leave her alone. Cancel it. Twitch should have stepped in. They should have canceled the entire meet and greet and paid her anyways. Why was this guy even allowed to casually walk across the line in ropes? Why wasn't he stopped at any point before he even got in reach of her? Yep. Security should have been on the ball. What the hell are you doing? Tackled him to the ground forcefully. Emerald Apple had this to say. Twitch is likely in huge trouble if lawsuits are pursued. Banning her favorite bodyguard for doing his job is a PR disaster due to this recent assault against Emiru at TwitchCon and adds credibility to a potential lawsuit. Negligent security. California law requires reasonable care for participants. Banning her security strengthens this potential case. Breach of contract. The contract mandates a meet and greet for her show, and creator contracts typically include security clauses. A breach could claim emotional distress or lost income. Battery and assault. The attacker should have been detained and charged. Twitch may face various liability if lack security, enabled the attack. Emiru and OTK should file lawsuits against Twitch, not just for herself, but for other content creators as well. I've heard that apparently she is pursuing legal action, which, good. Sue him to the ground, sue Twitch. When things like this happen, there needs to be consequences to the max, to the absolute max. Sue the guy, put him in jail, sue Twitch. Get rich off of this situation. You deserve it. Jay Viper had this to say. You banned her security guard for doing his job, and now you want to act like security is a priority? The platform is cooked. Yeah, that's the biggest BS thing of the day. See, yeah, we have the utmost respect for our streamers, and well, I don't remember exactly what he said, but yeah, security is absolutely a top priority over here. We've strengthened security for the following day. We care so deeply. You banned her bodyguard and security and let your hired security do nothing to protect Emmy. Just stop the act. Resign. Yeah, I can't believe what I was hearing. And you know what's sad is that there's people out there that will actually believe what he said. Saw so many women saying they weren't going to be attending TwitchCon this year because they don't feel safe. Then this happens to Emiru day one. Yeah, I don't know why you would attend this. Dude, I wouldn't attend as a guy because some violent men could be out there because I probably called somebody weird throughout this video. I can't imagine what it must be like for women. Insane. I would never in a million years go to a meet and greet, especially if you're a woman. Especially. Mr. Obvious had this to say. Bro, why is everyone acting like this is a presidential assassination attempt? She got grabbed and got scared or whatever, but nobody got hurt. That being said, I agree Twitch is incompetent and provided zero security and unsafe environment. She's right to stop attending. It's more of the fact that he was allowed to walk up and do whatever he wanted to this girl. If he came up with the intent to kill her, he would have been successful. If he came up with the intent to put his hands in her pants, he would have been successful. That's what it's about. You need to stop these things immediately. You need to take these things as serious as it could possibly get. We need to thank God that she only got grabbed. That's amazing. That's awesome. I'm not happy that she got grabbed, obviously, but we need to fix this entire thing from happening ever again. Seb Kawaki had this to say, right now, we need these things to happen. Emiru needs to press charges against Twitch for negligence. Dan Clancy needs to resign or be removed by Amazon. Security must be increased significantly, and streamers must be allowed to bring their private security. If they choose, they should. I'm not familiar with who Kaya is, I'm sorry, but that has nothing to do with Emiru. Still true, though. Sorry, I'm not. Oh, is Kaya the dog? So true! I'm gonna look so stupid if Kaya's not the dog's name. I think I am, though. Sorry, I know it's a serious conversation. I might look really, really dumb after that one. But I agree with that. 100%. 100%. Shifting blame onto Emiru to control your community when you force her to do a meet and greet with no security or proper supervision. Fuck Twitch and this coward CEO. I've also heard that there was something in these streamers' contracts. I'm talking about the big streamers where they had to do a meet and greet even if they were uncomfortable with it. I don't know how true that is. If anybody could shed some light in the comment section, I would appreciate that, because I would like to know if that was something that was required of them and like maybe she did not want to do it but was forced to do it anyways. Nate had this to say. What? Are you trying to say that conservatives have... Are you trying to say what conservatives have said for decades? That normalizing... Oh, whew. YouTube, I'm very grateful to be on this platform, and I would never in a million years agree with such a thing. What we are doing on this channel right now is taking a look at something viral that happened, taking a look at news, and talking about what some of the top replies are to those things. What a crazy, crazy, crazy thing that somebody could say, okay? What a crazy, crazy thing. Tectone had this to say. I think we looked at something else that Tectone had to say. I need to remind everyone of something important. If this happened to Emiru, the largest female streamer on the planet, generating Twitch millions of dollars every month, her public meet and greet had a defense force of one guy that couldn't even do his job. It gets worse. This is only what we prevented from continuing. Now, I'm not going to lie, Emmy is a strong individual and has dealt with a lot over the years. This will just add to the list of crap she shouldn't have had to go through, and somehow she'll tank it and keep a smile on for her viewers. The man could have stabbed her. No one would be dropping their guard because the worst thing didn't happen. It's horrifying because it could have happened. Irina Zarusaka comes to mind for how quick tragedy can strike. This man casually walked up and forced himself on her. People, you are not angry enough about this. Dan Clancy and Twitch need to be held accountable. I actually think that was very well said. Very, very well said. We've taken a look at a lot of great opinions today, and I wish that I could expand upon that, but I feel like we've already talked about this. I've already given my big rant take over here. But I do agree. You are not angry enough about this. Just because it didn't happen to somebody close to you doesn't mean it's not going to. And this society is only going to get worse with these types of situations. You can count on that. I have been around tons of celebrities and their security teams for years. I noticed two things. The first thing I noticed is that nobody ever gets near them. The second thing is the professional security personnel are constantly scanning the environment and will only allow talent to go into the areas they have approved. I guarantee that most pros would have never put Emiru in that situation to begin with. Last advice, if you do hire a professional, please listen to them, and military experience is preferred. Love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, nobody should have gotten near her. And they need to be scanning 24/7. They need to be on the ball 24/7. Not in the back laughing about something. Ridiculous. Matt Moore said this to say, we have increased security to the meet and greet attendees check-in point. Why was your security not increased from the start, given all of the concerns about this year's event? A young woman just got sexually assaulted and you were directly to blame. Yeah. And this is something that we need to talk about as well. I'm not blaming Emiru. I'm not familiar with her content. Don't put words in my mouth. This is something that absolutely needs to take into consideration too. We need to shame people who make these guys, these thirsty men, feel good and think that they have a chance with girls, because that's a real thing that nobody wants to talk about as well. Sean had this to say. The entire community ecosystem, bits, subscriber donations, is built in a way that encourages parasocial relationships. People throw thousands of dollars at streamers and then get upset when they are deprived of the relationship they think they've purchased. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, obviously, you didn't purchase that relationship. But for some weird reason, they think they do. Oh my god, thank you so much, Sean Bamford. That's so nice. Oh, here's my smile. Ninja, let me draw you on the chalkboard. Remember that girl back in the day? This was a long time coming. We need to have a change immediately, man. But it's not going to change. It's not going to change ever. VS Stream had this to say. I don't see the need to be cut from behind or be out from behind a desk. Why are these events and meet and greets so casual for the largest streamers on the platform? Even small music artists have a table between them and their fans for reasons. Twitch needs to do better for streamers or they'll stop showing up. Yeah, I think that was the last straw. I think that you're an idiot if you show up. And if you are any girl and you show up to a meet and greet after this, especially at TwitchCon, I think you're crazy. I think you're absolutely crazy. Your life's worth more than that. People are genuinely so detached from society. In what world is it okay to do that to women in general? How do these people act around their mothers and sisters? And I do agree that Twitch literally creates these freaks. Should it be happening? No. But this is only going to happen more and more as time goes on, man. In what world is it okay to do that to a woman in general? It's not. That's why maximum consequences need to be taken place. Again, what if he wanted to just shove his hands down her pants? Could you imagine? That's a big, big man. He could do that exactly if he wanted to. Absolutely insane. Think about your mother. Think about that happening to anybody close to you. I'm very anti-gun, but if Emiru had pulled out a Glock and shot him in the chest, it would have been less than what he deserved. Now, over here in Canada, we would never in a million years be okay with such a thing happening, because A good guy with a gun doesn't help anything ever, right? Good guy with a gun wouldn't ever help anything. I think that's crazy. That's crazy. Why would we possibly let a woman defend themselves? Because there's oftentimes bigger people with them that want to take advantage of them. What could that possibly solve, right? Because I know that bad guys will never get a hold of a weapon ever. And what's a crazy, crazy thing to say. Yeah, because many viewers are genuine nut jobs, and they're the ones who would spend the most money on these cute female streamers. Girls don't mind taking money, obviously, but this is the reality. Emiru should have a better personal security that's mandatory for anyone like her. Yeah. And her own security guard should have been let in from the beginning. Christina Grimmie was stabbed to death at a meet and greet 10 years ago. I'm not familiar with her. A Korean streamer was stabbed to death by a fan 2 weeks ago. I'm not familiar with that either. What? I haven't heard about that personally. Twitch does not take safety seriously, and Emiru could have ended up in the same way because of their negligence. I will never go to TwitchCon. If this just happened a couple of weeks ago and Twitch didn't do anything, that's even worse. I wasn't familiar with either of those situations, to be honest with you. People think it's haha so funny until you have people that send you emails and screenshots of people saying they want to hurt you. It's not a joke, and people think it's funny to tell people online horrid stuff, and then we become so desensitized. Danger literally walks up on us. Very well said. As we talked about throughout this video, I think that I gave you the uncomfortable but accurate take on the situation. I would love to know what you guys think down below. If you want the uncomfortable but accurate take on the situation with Hassan and his dog, you can check that out right here. I would love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care, guys.